All right. Good morning. How are you doing? Good morning, everybody that's listening. Good morning, Brent. Good morning, Rita. Good morning, everybody. How you guys doing this morning? Loud and clear. Good morning, Brent. How you doing this morning, man?
Nice. Good morning. Good morning. Good to see you.
You as well, man. What's going on?
Just the morning circus here at the house, getting the kids ready, out to school. Just trying to make it. Got a half a cup of coffee down, half a cup to go, and we'll be good.
Absolutely, man. There's no better way to get the day started than like that. Well, good morning, everybody that's listening, that's joining in with us live. It is 7:09 a.m. Pacific time. It is 9:09 a.m. Eastern time. We have a very special guest this morning. I'm super excited to have this conversation. But before we go through that, you guys, just a couple quick things I got to make sure we're all clear on and all on the same page on. First thing first, Thursday night is still game night. It's just starting 1 hour early just because of daylight savings time. So please, you guys, if you need help with underwriting, carriers, anything of that sort, please make sure you plug in, you learn to earn and join us and learn together. So that way we all can help more families and be able to get into a better position. But you guys, before we get started here today, I got a very special guest. And this is a gentleman who's been able to master the monotonous and be able to balance multiple things at the same time, not only serving our country, but also making sure he's able to serve these families that we help on a day-to-day basis. I'm super excited. I'm super honored to have him here with us to actually go through some of these jewels that he's going to be able to share with us about his journey so far. And I want to thank you for joining us, and I want to welcome you, Brent Lake. How you doing this morning, man?
Oh, Jamal, thanks so much. I'm humbled, brother. I am humbled. Thank you for such a strong intro. To be honest with you, I jumped on this call hoping that I'm going to hear some jewels from you. So,
well, hopefully we can pull some from this conversation, because I think there's going to be a lot of things that we can discuss. Brent, I mean, honestly, to get started, I think it's only right that we kind of just start off from the beginning. And, what's so fascinating to me has been what your journey has been up to this point, because a lot of people aren't able to actively balance multiple responsibilities at the same time. You're either all in or you're all out. And this is one thing where you've been able to astonishingly been able to still perform, maintain a schedule, and been able to produce at a fairly high level. And, I feel like a lot of our listeners here today, not everybody's always able to jump in feet first. And, when that happens, I love it when we have success stories of people who are actually able to balance their lifestyle. And, just to give everybody a little bit of context, Brent, why insurance? What made you kind of walk into this world, and what made you so intrigued by it to say, I think I can do this?
Yeah, so it's been a while, Jamal. I started off in insurance about 10 years ago. I was a young buck. I was down in Hollywood, Florida, working at the Seminole Casino, the Hard Rock down there. I was doing pretty well for 21-year-old guy. I'm saying 10 years ago, 25-year-old guy. I was doing well, but my now partner, Lewis, he told me, hey, Brian, I just had an interview with somebody that from the casino. Being the Hard Rock, it was like, dude, there's so many people that come in and out of there. I highly doubt that I know who you're talking about. Long story short, I ended up knowing the guy. But what caught my attention was Lewis was like, hey, he showed me like $8,000 checks on a weekly basis. And for me, doing well working in the casino was more of like, you're making a couple grand a week doing well, but there's a ceiling. There's that ceiling that I cannot deal more hands of poker. That I can only go so fast. So I can't make more money. If you move into management, you're going to make less money. So I was looking for something that I could grow, that I could build, something that, there wasn't a ceiling, something that is going to allow me to, whatever I put in, I'm going to get out, but for an ongoing period of time. When we're looking at residuals, when we're looking at growing teams, all of that really, really intrigued me. So that's when I jumped in. you guys can hold the applause. I jumped in with AIL, American Income Life. It was an experience. I learned quite a bit. I started off in September with training. By October, I had my first sit. Come the end of December, beginning of January, I got promoted all the way up to MGA. We were going to move from South Florida. We were going to move to DC area, Maryland, DC area, and open up a new office. Everything was going great. I remember calling Lewis my first day in the field. I said, man, hey, we just opened up shop. I busted out like 5 or 6 policies that day. My first day, I didn't know not one person in the area. Unfortunately, my commission schedule wasn't that great. But
how did that feel though? How did that feel? So quickly, because 5 apps, like in a day, like that's a lot of apps.
And face to face, after AIL, I never went back face to face. It's not my cup of tea. I prefer to be in my own home. Right now I got a t-shirt on, I got jeans on, I'm not wearing shorts, but I don't got no shoes on. I'm comfortable. And that's what I like. But getting first day, and seeing results, that's huge. That's huge. But it was proper preparation. It was getting on the phone, setting those appointments, and literally staying up until 9 o'clock, 9:30, and just calling the same number 3-4 times, because I didn't want to go out that next day, my first day in the field, and come home with a big goose egg. I wanted to come home with some policies, and outside of, like I said, having a lower commission schedule. I mean, I was, if I could say, geeked out. I was geeked out about getting in the field and writing so many policies on my first day of opening up a new office in DC.
Man, that's incredible. But, let's take a couple steps back here really quickly, Brent, because, like I said earlier, you are a veteran in our military. And, right now, your ability to be able to balance the two is very unique. And I want you to talk a little bit about, how you're able to kind of be able to juggle the two at the same time and also be able to still produce at a high level. Because I think that's something where, sometimes agents aren't able to jump in feet first into, this industry. And sometimes they need to be able to, still do what they need to do via contractual obligations, or because they have to be able to provide for their family in the short term until they get up to speed. So how have you been able to kind of be able to juggle the two, as well as your other ministry work as well, and also be able to grow your business?
100%. So let me just wrap up really quick the AIL situation. I think that there's some value there. Mm-hmm. We ended up parting ways, me and my upline. And it came to the point where we had been in DC for a couple of months, and I was like, listen, I'm about to bring my family here. We had moved up there, just me and him. We were just like head down going at it. And his response, the conversation was like on the up and up. We were, talking about the day, how great it was. His response, totally, the demeanor of the conversation, everything changed. And he's like, no, you can't do that. I need to build a business. I need to build a company. I can't have your family get in the way of that. You need to leave your family back in Florida. And I bring that up because it was that moment right there that I learned a very, very important lesson. And that is that you have to put your people first, not yourself. You have to put your people first. I ended up leaving after that conversation. The next day, I was like, look, man, if we're not going to be able to work this out, me and you, and we can't get on the same page, then this isn't going to work, because you have a different vision than I have. I want to grow. I want to make money. I want to do well, but not at the expense of my family, not at the expense of not having my family, right? Wow. And I mentioned that because, like I said, I learned in that moment just how important it is to put your people first, not yourself. After that, I worked in some call centers. I was the number one agent in a call center, but it wasn't doing it for me in a sense of, I decided that I needed to do something, finish something, okay, that I had started when I was younger that I never finished, and that was my service to the military, to our country. I decided, I'm gonna go ahead and join the military because I had a call to chaplaincy, I had a call to be a pastor, and that gave me so many more opportunities when it comes to insurance. Now you're almost looking at it from the perspective of it's a challenge, and it is a challenge, Jamal, to juggle two different things like that. But it opened up so many doors and opportunities for me because it took me out of working in a call center to now I'm in the military. I served in the Army. Every day when I get home, if it's a 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock or 8, whatever time it is, I'm going to get on the phone and talk to somebody either on the East Coast or the West Coast, and I'm going to sell some insurance because guess what? I had a family, and coming into the military, I didn't have any education, so I started right there at an E nothing, at E1 private, right? You ain't making that much money as a private, so I needed to get on the phones every night, and and so I was doing health insurance at the time, but it gave me the opportunity to see the independent side of things, and I did that the whole time on active duty, and where I am now, right here today, everything I feel happens for a reason, right? Everything that I learned in the military, I bring into my insurance practices. Without that structure that they've given me in my life, I would have a really hard time going to school. I'm a full-time seminary student. I serve in the chaplaincy for the Army. I serve in my church, and I'm growing my book of business. We're growing our team that's also doing very well. And I mean, it's the structure that they've provided me to be able to backwards plan from where I want to be. I know what the end goal is. And for me, it's backwards planning from there, filling in those blanks. Because if I start off today and I say, I want to get to wherever my destination is, and I'm starting with planning right here today, something's going to fall off in that planning scheme. Something's going to fall off in my route there. So for me, backwards planning is key to making sure that I'm hitting all of the check marks that I need to hit in order to get to where I'm trying to go.
Okay, I can respect that. And I think that's actually very fair. And I think there's some very powerful takeaways there. Now, tell me this, Brent, and this is where I just have a little bit of curiosity. And I think some of the people that are listening might also have some curiosity as well. But when you think about managing your time and how that actually gets broken down, this is one thing that I feel like conceptually a lot of people have a lot of struggle with, which is how to properly manage their time so that way they can, juggle multiple things at the same time. And, when I was in the military, I genuinely think that that was the best experience of my life, to be able to have that structure and that discipline more than anything to get the job done when it needs to get done. So what are some of the things that you do right now on a day-to-day basis to kind of make sure that you can manage everything, as well as make sure that you're maximizing your time as much as possible?
Yeah. So I can't take full credit on this one here. I was blessed with an amazing wife. She is that A-type personality. She's a teacher, and scheduling and filling in a calendar is her, like, that's her passion. She wants to fill out a calendar. She loves it. And because of that, I've kind of grown to embrace it as well, if that makes sense. So my calendar is filled out in my phone from morning till afternoon. And if it says within that calendar that I need to be on the phones until 5 p.m. or until 6 p.m., guess what? There's nobody allowed coming in my office until 5 p.m. because I'm on the phones until that time. If it says I need to be working on schoolwork or I need to get ready to preach a sermon, that's what I do. I write everything down. Without that structure of having something on paper written down in a schedule that I can look at and say, okay, if I'm going to be successful at XYZ, whatever it is that I'm doing, I need to get done what's written down. If I don't do what's written down on paper, what I'm trying to do is not going to happen. It's a dream. You know what I'm saying? So literally looking at a calendar on a day-to-day basis, every morning I wake up, I've got my coffee, I've got my day scheduled out in front of me, and I've looked at the next 2 or 3 days just to make sure that nothing's changing. Because when I'm juggling school and I'm juggling the military, I'm juggling a ministry at my church, and I'm juggling building a business, every single minute matters. And if I'm not spending that time productively, if I know, well, by the end of the day, I've got to get 3 things done, but, right now I could scroll on Facebook, or I can call up, a old buddy and talk about, the day at the range that we had a couple of weeks ago shooting. I know that what's going to happen is what needs to get done for the day ain't going to get done. So that calendar keeps me accountable. That's not something that I can say was from Brent Lake. It was from Mrs. Lake. My wife's name is Christina. And I'm blessed to have her. I'm blessed to have somebody that's been able to put that structure in my life, because I'd be all over the place without it. I really would.
Well, man, let's thank God for her. Let's thank God for her immediately. And we all have one of those. My wife is very similar. She's more process and systems oriented, that rubs off on me all the time, because everything has to have a process. And if it doesn't have a process, she's going to create a process. So I completely understand what you're saying there, Brent.
Does she have any military background, Jamal? I don't think I've ever asked you.
Not at all. She actually, she's a systems engineer. That's her background. So
nice.
That's just how her mind thinks. So it's fortunate and unfortunate at the same time, but it is what it is. But Brent, so you said that the story of what kind of gravitated you towards insurance was the gentleman in the casino. What type of insurance was he doing at the time that allowed him to be able to make $8,000 a week? What was he doing?
Yes, life insurance, right? American Income Life. I don't know what they're doing today, right? AIL. It's a whole life insurance policy. Where we're at in my life today, I'm gravitated towards the final expense policy, again, whole life. But what comes with that is your residuals, right? And that's what the goal is. Your goal is you want to live off of those things. You want to be able to build up those residuals. So you're walking in to a couple thousand, multiple $1,000s on a monthly basis before you even open up.
That's what Alan said. You heard what Alan said. He said you haven't made it in
on Wednesday. If you didn't catch that last episode with Tom, excuse me, Town is his last name, Alan Town, okay, and Jamal English, you need to jump back on that episode, because there was a lot of good stuff. There was a lot of golden nuggets shared. And definitely that's one of them. The end game is the residuals in this industry. And if you don't have that in mind, and you're focused on just that next first down, all right, if you were watching football last night, that 10 yards, then you're not seeing the big picture. You need to have that 100-yard focus, because that's where this industry, where this business becomes real, is when you see those residual checks pop in. You didn't even do nothing. This is something that you did a year ago, 2 years ago. That's what caught my attention. And like I said, I was at in a position where I was making good money, but there was a ceiling in a casino, Jamal. You're never going to make another dollar above what you made last year. As a matter of fact, it started to go down towards the end.
Like, man, this check just arrived just the other day. And this was a renewal check for Medicare I wrote 2 years ago. And, that's kind of exactly what you're talking about, because, this business is so unique in the sense that we are able to, in a lot of ways control our own destiny. But there's some of those things that we can't control, that foresight, because, when I got into the business, I got in through conventional distribution. We were selling fully underwritten products. I was a captive agent, and I got to see that side of the business. But I quickly realized that there was no scalability to that business model. And that hindered me from being able to grow. Like trying to sell to friends and family, that's not a great way to do business. I don't like that at all. And, this is kind of where being able to work in final expense, selling simplified issue products, where instead of waiting 3 weeks to get underwriting decision, I wait 3 minutes. And this is where it just kind of changed the games completely. So when you transition from health insurance to final expense, what was that transition like as an independent agent?
There was a little bit of a learning curve. I didn't know anything really about final expense whatsoever. I'd been taking transfers. I'm a big transfers guy, Jamal. I like live transfers. Kind of spoiled in that sense of that's really and truly what I like to stick to. But scheduling wise, that's what works for me. I don't have 9 hours or 8 hours to be consistent on a daily basis to dial out or follow up with appointments. But that transition really and truly, it was kind of like a breath of fresh air, if that makes sense, right? Health insurance over the phone, at least the health insurance that I was doing, there's an
Under
underwriting
65,
process.
under 65, right?
Yep. Underwriting process. You're going to be waiting a few days. There's e-signatures. There's follow-up calls. I really and truly, if it makes sense, wasn't in full control of the sale. And what I mean by that is, a lot of times you can do the best that you can do on the phone. You can close, you can post-close a person flawlessly. But then when you get off the phone and your voice isn't in their ear anymore, some of them go into witness protection. Some of them go ghost. And now that sale that you made becomes a chasing game. You have to follow up and follow up and follow up to get them on that health interview call, to get them to do an e-signature, whatever the case may be. It's not a one-call close. When I got into final expense, I was like, wait a second, hold on. They don't need to sign nothing? Their voice is their signature? They don't need to do anything outside of what we're doing on this call? You telling me I can take somebody in a matter of 20 minutes or 40 minutes and take them from hello to congratulations, your coverage is in place, it's in force? For me, that was just eye-opening. It was literally like a breath of fresh air, because what it allowed me to do is have control over my business. It had allowed me to have control over what I'm doing, and I'm not at the mercy of, okay, if this person from the insurance company calls up and is going to do this health interview, if they have an attitude that day, I'm going to lose the sale. If they're short with the person, I'm going to lose the sale. I'm on the phone with the client the entire time. And that's really where process, for me, Jamal, I surround myself with people that are smarter than myself, because I'll admit it, I'm not the smartest guy in the world. But I believe if I surround myself with people that are smarter than me, that, I'll do well. And Marcus Lamont is one of the P's that he has, right? People, process, and product. The process in a final expense sale it's crazy. I mean, if you can get on the phone with somebody and get them from A to Z, done deal, in 45 minutes, and then you can take another phone call and do it all over again, you have so much control over your business, which means you have control over your life. And for me, that was what made me say, you know what, health insurance and all the process that comes along with that health insurance sale. I'm not going to say I'll never sell a health insurance policy again, but that's not what I'm waking up in the morning to do anymore. It's final expense all the way. I can't hear you. Is it my?
Sorry, Brent. I
There we
said,
go.
walk me through this. Now, what was the difference in cash flow that you realized very quickly from health insurance to final expense?
Okay. So cash flow wise, the policies that I was selling on health insurance side, um, they were great commissions. Um, Obamacare came in, kind of messed that up towards the beginning. Started seeing a lot less commission on that side. But I would say, in addition to the cash flow based on commission, Jamal, um, the amount of sales that I'm able to get in a day, added value of a high commission. I'm no longer at a 30%, 60% commission when I was with AIL, right? Those two, it's night and day. I mean, what I can produce in final expense versus what I'm able to produce on a health insurance sale, it's there's no question about it. I'd say personal volume at least double what I was making before doing health insurance, and it's much easier of a sale.
Wow. Seeing how you was doing 6 figure selling health, that's a lot of money on final expense. So, I mean, Brent, I want to talk about something else as well, because, you kind of hit on something that I thought was kind of powerful, which is, thinking about this from how most people get into this business and how they think about this business, because you had an experience with health insurance working with clients under the age of 65. And, when I got into final expense, every client I talked to was over the age of 50. And the one thing that I realized very quickly is that this business of final expense is set up to be a high cash flow business. It provides your upfront cash flow. The residuals are a lot less than what you see on the health side. But the biggest way to complement that has been on the Medicare side, because at that point you have products that you're able to essentially give away to clients and help put
Mm-hmm.
them in a better position with formulary benefits or ancillary benefits or whatever that may look like, where you can actually do a lot of damage on that side as well. Now, from that angle, do you recommend agents have both their health and life insurance license when they get into this business?
Yeah, 100%. There is absolutely no reason that you're going through the online training or in-seat training, whatever training you're doing. If you're going to be in that seat, okay, you need to be taking the correct course for both your health and your life, and knock out the test at the same time. It's not a separate test. It's not. It's really and truly not very much more to study, and you're putting yourself in a position outside of just even outside of just Medicare. There's certain products that you're going to have both licenses to sell, and if you want to be able to offer some of these products, you need to have both licenses. So if you're not doing both, you're shooting yourself in the foot from the beginning.
Well, you guys, very important. I hope all you guys are listening to that, because the one thing about this business is you got to be able to align your synergies. If there's multiple things that you can offer the same client that's going to help them, I think you need to have all the tools and resources in order to be able to provide those solutions. And unfortunately, licensing is one of those. And I see a lot of times, Brent, a lot of agents get into this business, they only have their life license. I said,
Mm-hmm.
whoa, it's an extra 20 questions. It's 20 questions when you take them together, versus when you take it by itself, it's about 60 questions, including some of the practice ones. You might as well just go ahead and take them both together. It's going to cost you the same money to take the exam together. So you
Mm-hmm.
need to get those licenses together, you guys. It makes a huge difference. And Brent, when you got into the business, did you only have your health license, or did you get your life and health as well?
No, I got my 215 straight away. So I had my life, health, annuity. There's no reason to do it any other way. You need to have, if you're going fishing, Jamal, don't take just a fishing pole. Bring yourself a net. Bring yourself a spear gun. Bring all the tools you can. Right? There's no reason to bring just one.
Respect. Okay. And Brent, kind of following up on what you were mentioning earlier regarding the live transfers. So let's go ahead and get into this, because I think this is where a lot of people really, really want to be able to grow their business and do more
Hmm.
things, essentially. So, when you got into business, like you said, you were working line transfers. Because of the way your schedule is structured, there causes
Hmm.
some constraints from you being able to work on, a call back campaign or a dial out campaign. But,
Sure.
what has been those numbers for you that have backed out to where they needed to be in order to allow you to be able to produce at the level that you are right now? And let me explain what I mean by that. So, when I think about this business, I think about it from the terms of how many leads per week am I receiving, how many
Yep.
conversations per week am I having,
Hmm.
how many pitches am I having, then how many sales am I having. So when you think about those numbers, what do those break down for you, where you're actually able to start control the variables of your business?
Yeah. At the elementary level, if you call it, uh, I would say you need to start off with 30 transfers a week. That's going to give you, if you're working 5 days a week, 6 touches a day. There's no reason, even even some of the worst transfers that I've worked, that you can't close 15 to 20% of those transfers. If you're getting 6 touches a day, that's at least a deal a day. Um, if you're writing 5, 6 deals a week, that's 6 figures right there. That's 2K plus a week. So at least 30 transfers, Jamal. There's no reason, if you're taking transfers, for you to be taking 20 or 10 transfers. I mean, there's nothing that you can do with that. And the beautiful thing about transfers for me is you're paying whatever you're paying for your transfers. Okay. A lot of folks want to one call close the transfer, which, let's face it, there's nothing better than a one call close, unless you're getting some referrals out of that call too, right? But
Hmm.
the thing is that if you were purchasing a face-to-face lead, right? It's a direct mail or a Facebook lead. Okay. I don't know one agent in the world that's going to call that lead one time. They didn't answer, or they said no, and they're never going to call them back again. And I see too many times in the transfer world, oh, so-and-so didn't buy, and they said, they have to, whatever the case may be, talk to their spouse. They have to do, the agents a lot of times don't want to do a follow-up after that. The transfer world is not just a one call close. You being willing to call back your transfers that you didn't close in that first call is really what's going to take. Next week, you started off the first week, you had 30 transfers. Okay. The next week, you've got 20 to 25 people that you can call back on top of your 30 transfers. And it keeps rolling over and over and over. Listen, I'm going to call and call and call until these people tell me to go fly a kite. And I might call one more, two more times after that, because they might have just had a bad day. So 30 leads a week, at a minimum, and it's all about scaling from there. The beautiful thing about final expense is that a lot of these carriers are paying daily, or they're paying multiple times a week. Okay, so the commissions are going to come right back. You're going to make your investment on your first or your second lead order. The commissions are going to come right back. It's up to you at that point to guard that commission that comes back in as a tool that's going to keep your business open, right? If you own a pizzeria, you're not going to be eating all the pizza, run out of pizza, because you're going to have to close your doors. It's the same idea with the cash flow that's coming in. It's got to be about consistency. It's got to be about guarding that cash flow that you have, and about following up. Those three things, at a very, very minimum, is going to allow you to, week after week, grow and grow and grow. And really and truly, you'll be able to, if you started off at 30 leads, and you'll be able to be up at 50 leads a week, and now you're closing 2 deals a day. A month later, you went from writing 5, 6 deals a week to writing 10, 15 deals a week.
And that's a night and day difference, everybody. You writing 15
That,
deals a week, you
yeah,
making a lot of money. You making a lot of money. You're probably doing north of 10 to 15 grand a week. So super powerful what you just said there right there, Brent. But that's kind of what brings me to our next conversation, which is, when you think about leads and all of that type of stuff, sometimes people just get too bogged down with it. They start thinking about, I don't know if this is going to work, or I'll just try it. So they purchase leads one time. And then if they don't have a great experience, they don't do anything after that. They're like, no
yeah.
leads are worth it. So, Brent, I typically recommend people look at leads from a 4-week perspective. And
Hmm.
in your business, how long do you typically recommend new agents or established agents actually have a lead source where before they say, I'm not going to do this anymore? Because I've always looked at it as, like, I used to get mad. Like when one of the vendors that I used to work with didn't charge my account, I got pissed. I said, why didn't you charge me, man? Because then I knew that my leads were going to get delayed. It was going to mess up my scheduling. And then I knew that my cash flow was going to have a constraint at that point as well. So what do you recommend, Brent?
Yeah, I mean, I might be even a little more. I would even say 4 to 6 weeks, Jamal. I mean, really and truly. So, for example, I come from a background of poker, right? I would deal poker on a nightly basis. Okay, I worked a graveyard shift, and night after night, I would see people throwing their cards on the table, cursing out me, the dealer, because they had a hand that was supposed to win 90% of the time and they just lost. Well, look, you've got to remember that 10% of the time is going to happen, right? And if you're so focused on right here, right now, and you're not willing to take a step back and look at the big picture of things, the law of large numbers, then you're going to be so in your own way that you're never gonna succeed, right? I'll admit I have had plenty of days personally where it's like, do I just close up shop? Like, did I really just spend 8 hours of my day and I paid to be here because I'm buying leads and I didn't make any money? I could have done something totally different with my day. And what that forces me to do is say, okay, listen, I need to step back. I know that I need to step back because guess what? When you step back and you look back and you have a track record that you can look back 4 weeks to 6 weeks, you're gonna see, okay, I took 150 transfers in the past 6 weeks, and guess what? Out of those 150 transfers, I wrote 30, 40, 50 deals. I'm actually closing at 30%. But today I took it hard, right? I got hit pretty hard. And I feel like, do I close up shop? Heck no. You need to look at, you have to have a solid foundation of data to look at. You're not going to get that data unless, Jamal, you're looking at it from a 4-week perspective, or, if you want to push it, even a 6-week perspective.
Super powerful what you just said there, Brent. But let's talk about that really quickly because you just said that you had those days, I've had those days, Rita had those days. I think everybody in this business that's ever been able to do anything has had those days where they felt, what am I doing? Like, why did I sign up for this? But Brent, like when you have those days, what do you tell yourself? What does that conversation sound like?
You know what? Let's even look at it like it's the complete opposite of that. Whatever happened today, whether it was, just the best day that I've had in months, or whether I goose egged and I bought 10 leads and I didn't close one of them, okay, tomorrow is going to come. And tomorrow has nothing to do with today. If I close 5 deals today and I wake up tomorrow, that doesn't mean I can take a day off. right? It doesn't mean I can just go chill, because guess what? I'm not going to hit my numbers at the end of the week if I take a day off on Tuesday and then Wednesday, Thursday roll around. I have another bad couple of days, and then Friday's here, and I'm like, okay, I got to write 10, 15 deals today. No, same thing. If I have a bad day, you know, if it's that bad, I'm going to look at my numbers. I'm going to pull up my reports and I'm going to see what I've done, because I need to remind myself, you know what, this is possible. And I've done this before and I'm going to do it again. But at the same time, I have to be ready, and I have to know that I'm going to have great days and I'm going to have bad days. The days do not matter. They don't matter, Jamal. What matters is the year to date. What matters is the month over month. You're going to have a bad week. You're going to have a bad day. And it's, you have to be willing to push through that, because if you're not willing to, if you're going to give up, if you're going to develop and adopt a negative attitude because of what happened on one day, you know what? I'm going on 5 kids, Jamal. I've got 4 right now, 2 boys, 2 girls are waiting to find out whether this last one is gonna break up, you know, the boy side or the girl side. Who's gonna win, right? And we send them out to play sports. The first rule is, you know what? Whatever you start, you're gonna finish. I don't care if you absolutely hate playing soccer, but you wanted to start soccer, you're gonna finish playing soccer. And if I am, as their role model, gonna let them see me have a bad day at work and let that affect me negatively on the days to follow, then how can I expect them to go out there and play a game of soccer or play a game of baseball, take a loss, and then want to go back in the next day? So I need to step back. I need to look at the overall numbers, keep my mindset where it needs to be at. And for me, you know, my kids are big, they hold a big weight on how I carry myself, because I want to raise up people that have a head on their shoulders, that are going to make solid decisions and are not going to be emotional based on what happened in the right now. I don't want to let singular moments affect my long-term, you know, longevity in life. You can't think off of what happened right now. So it could be a good day, Jamal. It could be a bad day, but that's not going to affect what's going to happen tomorrow, because what's going to happen tomorrow is I'm going to get on those phones. I'm going to make my phone calls. And if I continue to do that, 4 weeks from now, I'm going to look back and say, I had a couple bad days, but guess what? I closed at 20, 30, 33%. And it's going to work out like that every time.
You know, I say you can have a bad day. You may even have a bad week. But if you are working consistently on a daily basis, you will never, ever have a bad month. And I feel like that's the one variable that has to be taken into consideration for all the agents listening out here. And you know what? It looks like we have Rita on the line with us. Good morning, Rita. How you doing? You're muted, Rita.
Yeah, I said good morning. I think I was on mute. How you guys doing?
Morning, Rita. How's it going today?
Good, my brother. I was sitting watching you guys, and it's I mean, it's amazing how you can always be, you know, a student of the game. I listen to you and Jamal talk, and I be like, these guys have so much knowledge, and they are sharing so much information and so much knowledge, and it's just amazing the information that you're providing, and hoping that a lot of agents will listen to what you're saying and take it for heart, because your words, your mind, and your thoughts are of a businessman. You look at everything as a businessman. You analyze everything as a businessman, because you are a businessman. The issue right now is that agents are just agents. You know, they have a job, they work, they try to buy leads, they sell, they don't sell. They live that roller coaster of the emotions. When the numbers are high, hook lead on Facebook. When the numbers are down, they want to quit. I just hope one day that a lot of agents will have the same understanding of the business that you do, the same analysis of the numbers that you do. And I don't know how we can teach that to people. You know, I think you and Jamal have been blessed of being in the military. They teach you structure and everything. But we see a lot of agents these days like just give up so easy and so quickly. They struggle, they have a bad week, and they say, oh, I want to leave to another IMO. And then within a month, they go to another IMO. And, you know,
they're
like,
going to struggle there too, right, Rita?
right. You know, they always say, I think maybe the grass is greener on the other side. No, it's not. The grass is green when you water it. Grab some water, water the damn thing. Now it's going to become green. And how are you going to water the grass on your side? By learning, by buying leads, by working hard, by getting job done. And that's why you see a lot of agents struggling. I have never seen it this bad, where agents are struggling so much, yet they don't want to work hard. I just get lost. I mean, what's your take on what's going on in the industry these days? Because, you know, you are a great agency builder. You are building a lot of agents. You're averaging like 6 agents in the last 10 days or so. You're doing a great job with Lewis. Like, you talking to a lot of those agents out there, what are the issues they are facing, so that our agents who are listening to you right now, they need to understand that they have the solutions already?
Sure. You know, Jamal, I'm sure that you'd be willing to echo this, and that is, if you follow the process, the military is really, really easy. Like, they have a structure and a process set in place, okay, that if you just follow the step by step, you're going to be successful. And it's the same thing, I believe, in this industry. My goal is, when I get in front of an agent that might be new to the business or maybe struggled elsewhere, is really and truly to show them a process that's simple and that is easily duplicated. Too many times, you know, I want to say that Allentown mentioned this the other day as well. You know, we're overcomplicating things. We want to know the ins and the outs of the product. That's cool. I'm one of those guys in the sense of, I want to know what I'm selling. That's great. But between 9 to 5 or whatever your work hours are, that's not the time to study.
Hold on.
Okay.
So Brent, just to put some emphasis on what you just said and kind of circle it back around. So when we were talking to Alan made a statement where he said, because I asked him, I said, what made you different than everybody else that allowed you to be so successful? And that people wanted to invest time and energy into you. And I was like, what is that thing? And he made it very clear that he was the type of person, and one of his major mentors told him this, where he didn't have to know everything. And he was able to just understand it. Once he was able to comprehend it, he was good to go. Is that kind of what you're talking about, Brent?
100%. You know, it's in a sense, what I believe really and truly is, there's a lot of folks in this business that, you know, like me, they've seen that $8,000 check from somebody, right? They've seen that potential, okay, and they disregard the fact that there's going to be some hard work along the way, and they feel like if they're doing something, that they are progressing, and that something that they want to do is in their comfort zone, and it's studying a product over and over and over and over and over again. And really and truly, it's unnecessary. Okay, what my take on a new agent be trained up enough is really and truly to just give them something that's easily duplicated. Okay, you don't need to go change anything. When I step into a sale, guess what? I'm not changing anything from the people that I've learned from over the years. I'm not trying to create anything new. Why? Because a lot of the people that I learned from are way more successful than I am. And there's absolutely no reason for me to try to reinvent something that's been working. So when I say the military is super, super simple, if you follow the process, guess what? There's a lot of people that have been in the military and have done very, very well, have gone through elite schoolings that, you know, you may walk into that school on day one and believe, I can't do this. But guess what? Thousands of people have come before you and done it themselves. Why would you not be able to do this? All you got to do is duplicate what they've been doing. And if you're spending your time overcomplicating things and not putting yourself in positions to sell and positions to grow, then guess what you're not going to do? You're not going to sell. You're not going to grow if you're trying to build a team or if you're trying to build a book of business. It's not going to happen. So it's again, just keeping it simple, stupid, right? KISS. Keeping it simple, stupid. There's no need to overcomplicate this business. Whatever, Jamal, Rita, there is no doubt in my mind that what you've put in front of everybody that comes up, what you've put in front of me, there's no reason for anybody to have to change that or to believe that there's a better way to do it. Why? Because it's been working. So why change it?
Super powerful, Brent. Super powerful. Rita, is there anything else you want to add?
Yeah, no, I was going to add, you can put this in front of the whole world. If they don't have your mindset, if they don't have your heart, if they don't have your belief, they'll go nowhere. Because, I mean, it's amazing how we have agents right now. They have everything in place, yet they don't produce. And you'd be like, listen, I mean, you have other agents who are producing, what's going on? Like, what do you need? Well, I mean, I don't know what it is. Well, you need to know what it is, because, you need to get the job done. So again, it's, I don't want to take much of this because I was listening to you and Jamal, and there is so much knowledge. And believe me, I was listening to you from the beginning. I'm like, this guy is smart. This guy knows what he's doing. And hopefully looking back, a year from now, looking at your agency and exploding, and whatever your dream is, to follow it will be behind you. If anyone is listening, I know Jamal is better at me at this, to give you information, how they're gonna reach out to you, because you are a good builder, you are a good businessman. And if there is any lucky one that comes, line up with you, they definitely will be successful. And you definitely are a Rita and Jamal approved leader. So
Nice. Thank you for that.
No, absolutely, Brent. Before you answer that question, Brent, I want to preface it with, who is the right person for this business? Who do you feel like is the right person with the right characteristics, male or female? Because I've seen some monster women do some crazy things in this business,
100%,
and a male-dominated industry. So what do you feel like are the right characteristics? What do you feel like is the right profile for somebody to actually look at this as a real opportunity that you feel like will make it?
100%. So that individual is going to come from any background. I believe, look, I came into this business as a poker dealer, okay? And I did very, very well from day one. So you're going to come from any background, but you're going to come with the mindset of leaving everything you think you know at the door, okay? And being willing to trust the process, okay? When I say trust the process, it's not what you're seeing on Facebook. It's not what your friends telling you, because your friends are probably broke, okay? It's what your leadership is telling you. People that can say, look, this is what I made last year. Okay, this is what I wrote last month. Trust the process. There's no reason for them to give you, okay, your leadership to give you a broken process, right? If you're following somebody that doesn't seem to have it together, then obviously you need to go somewhere else. But being willing to trust the process, so you're leaving everything at the door, and then you're willing to have that tunnel vision. That tunnel vision is so crucial, because along the way, you're going to get in your own way. Okay, you're going to have those days where you believe that you can't do this. Okay, you're going to have somebody say you're doing life insurance, you're doing what are you, cold calling people, or all these naysayers. Okay, and same thing, like I said about your friends, they're probably broke too. Okay, so who are you listening to? Are you going to be willing to leave everything at the door, trust the process, and be willing to just grind, and not for a day, not for a week. Okay, grind for a year, and then look back and then say, okay, was it worth it? I guarantee you, if you put in 6 months, okay, to a year in this business where you're working 5 days, maybe even 6 days a week, you're gonna be like, this is it. There's nowhere else to go. You got to be willing to leave everything at the door that you think you know. You got to be willing to trust the process, and you got to be willing to grind. There is nothing else that you need to bring. There's no skills. There is no knowledge, nothing else. And the biggest one there is the willingness to grind. This is not a game for the faint of heart. This is not a game for somebody that's going to get their feelings hurt, okay? You got to be willing to take the punches and to keep on going, because you know what? Those punches are going to come. Those tough times are going to come. And if you're a tough person, you're going to keep on pushing through them. You got to be willing to take the punches. You got to be willing to grind.
When you said that you got to be willing to take the punches, I feel like there's another part to that where you got to be willing to give some punches, because, you know, that's where sometimes people are a little bit too timid in their approach, that really hinders them from being able to be successful in this business as well. So that's the only thing I wanted to add there, Brent. But, you know, now understanding that everybody that's listening right now or watching this visually, you know, Brent, how can everybody get connected with you or with Lewis or with the team to kind of be able to learn a little bit more about you guys and the opportunity?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. So Google Brent Lake Insurance. You're going to find me somewhere. And if you're not putting stuff out on your own in your own business where you can't tell a client, Google Jamal English Insurance or Brent Lake Insurance or whoever, okay, then you're doing yourself a disservice. So get yourself out there. Google Brent Lake Insurance. You'll find me somewhere. My number's on there. Go online, Digital Agents United, all lowercase, digitalagentsunited.com. Give us a call, fill out the form, and we'll be happy to reach out and see if you're a good fit, if you've got that grind, and not if you're willing to take the punches, but if you're willing to throw those punches as well.
Absolutely.
If I might add, Brent, I know that a lot of agents who listens to this podcast, the great ones that Jamal put together, a lot of them are on Facebook. If you can just put your contact over there, because I know that a lot of agents, it's easier for them to say hello on Facebook. Just make sure if you're on Facebook or any other social media where they can find you.
Yeah.
We'll add that in
Brent
the description.
Lake on Facebook, not sure. Providence Safeguard, Facebook.com/Providence Safeguard, excuse me.
I'll definitely make sure we add that in the description, everybody. I appreciate you guys joining us on this morning's call, Results Over Reason. Thank you so much, Brent. You are a true example of somebody who has really depicted results versus giving reasons for why they can't do what they want to do. So I want to commend you for that. I want to salute you for that. I want to thank you for joining us this morning. I want to thank you for your service, and I appreciate you joining us. You have a fantastic rest of your day, man. Let's go make some money.
God bless, brother. Thank you so much for having me.
You as well. Take care, everybody. I appreciate you guys. We'll talk here very soon. It is 8:06 a.m. Pacific time. It is 10:06 a.m. Eastern time. Let's go make some money, you guys. Let's go grind. Let's go help some families. Let's go do what we need to do. Everybody take care. Have a fantastic rest of your day, everybody. Bye-bye.